Korea is a peninsula in East Asia, conveniently called the Korean Peninsula, between the Yellow Sea on the west and the Sea of Japan to the east. To the north, it shares a border with China and Russia, with the island of Japan to the east. Most of the time, they have been unfriendly neighbors. I discovered that much of Korea is mountainous and snows in winter. Said mountains have a habit of freezing over in winter. When walking in combat boots, expect to fall down. Also, when in a Jeep or truck, learn how to bail out in case a curve is missed and the vehicle slides over the mountain. That happened to a friend of mine. This is not my top choice for fighting a war. At the top of the list of agricultural products was rice, as expected in East Asia, which accounts for about 80% of the farm production. That means the country, specifically South Korea, is self sufficient in rice. Other produce includes standard livestock and dairy, wheat, corn, soybeans, fruits, and vegetables. They're a developed country now, but when I was there in 1970, they plowed their fields with yaks. When World War II ended, Korea had been a Japanese colony for 35 years, mainly a source of produce and other goods, plus the idea that Japan wanted to dominate East Asia. The U.S. and Soviet Union split the country in half at the 38th parallel for occupation zones. They formed their own government, North Korea by Kim Il sung in 1948, with his capital at Pyongyang, and South Korea by Syngman Rhee in 1950, with Seoul as the capital. In June 1950, the North, trained by Soviets, invaded the South. The UN, with the Soviet representative absent, allied 21 countries with the South. The U.S. provided 90% of the support. The Korean War was on. Truman was U.S. president and justified combat to stop communist aggression and upload UN responsibilities. To avoid a congressional declaration of war, he called it a police action. The North quickly captured the capital, Seoul, and continued south to the Pusan perimeter. General Douglas MacArthur was named commander by Truman. He counterattacked at Incheon in September 1950. This cut the North's supply line, and Seoul was quickly recaptured. MacArthur then went north and captured Pyongyang. China entered the war, and success went back and forth. Typical of soldiers in the field, the troops primarily ate canned sea rations from World War II. That was about 3,700 calories a day in 6 cans, with stew, meat, beans, or spaghetti. Add biscuits, war surplus chocolate bars, and cigarettes. Maybe they'd get cereal, dehydrated potatoes, dry milk, and jam. There were locally sourced goods. I'm thinking kimchi, fermented cabbage, and other vegetables with seasonings like chili powder and garlic, but more likely rice and fish. When I arrived in 1970, it was regular cooked army food. The best option was usually hot soup with leftovers from the previous day. How did it end? It didn't. The fighting ended up around the 38th parallel and continued into the Eisenhower presidency. Then a 1953 armistice was negotiated. The two countries were separated by a demilitarized zone near the 38th parallel. South of the DMZ were our four Hawk missile sites. The only view I got of North Korea was MiGs on radar. Except for short recessions, it was boom time for America. Eisenhower was president for most of the decade. Europe was recovering and uniting, initially with the European Coal and Steel Community in 1951, then the European Economic Community with the Treaty of Rome in 1957. On to the 1950s, next time on Food History and Mystery.